All right, we'll start with the opening statement and then take questions for Mimi and Sid.
Yeah, I thought that game was obviously defensive-oriented. I thought it could be. If we didn't make some perimeter shots to loosen it up, it would be a kind of a toughness, a paint kind of defensive game. Same thing from the offensive end. Arizona State's tremendous defensively. We knew that coming in. I've coached against Coach Miller before. They've been really, really good on that end. Thought we had some good game plan coming in, both offensively and defensively. I was proud of the fourth quarter. I thought we were at our best in the fourth quarter when it was needed. We've been talking about kind of just attitude and trying to thrive in those moments and just really trying to enjoy it and being excited about it. And wish it didn't come down to that, and I wish it didn't have to be our best quarter, but I don't think we turned it over in the fourth quarter. We shot it from the field goal percentage the best that quarter, got to the free throw line to kind of finish it off. So, I thought some of these guys hit some big shots. Obviously, Shaw's three I thought was huge. Mimi had a couple big buckets too, just when we needed them. And then we got to kind of finish it off with the shooting the free throw. Just a little bit better to kind of polish it off. But we'll take the win. We'll get better from it. Good to get that feeling back and hear Country Roads in our building again.
Mimi, there at the end of the third quarter with about 2 seconds left, you had that layup to go in. You came to the sideline, and it seemed like you started motivating everyone who was on the floor and everyone on the bench. What was kind of the message to get that fourth quarter going, to get off to a hot start?
A lot of times in the fourth quarter, I think a lot of us are in our head and just thinking about, ourselves. And I was just like, we can't be about ourselves. We got to play for each other. And I think that's how we finished the fourth quarter, was just playing for each other. We knew that we let the last two slip, and I was just telling my teams, we can't let this happen again. We've seen it too many times. We know exactly what to do, so let's just go do it.
Sitting in Arizona State's defense, techniques, things that they did one-on-one well, was it scheme things that they did? What made them so tough to attack?
I don't know if I could speak for their schemes, but I think that they're just a tough team overall. They have tough players that seem to understand the game plan very well, so I think we just had to really work for our spot, and they're definitely making us work for it. I think they're a really good defensive team.
Sydney, what did you see after you had tied the game, you hit the three, and you guys hadn't shot very well the last two quarters? So just what did you see on that shot?
What I see? My man gambled, so I was like, I'm wide open. I didn't really think too much about it, which is why I think I made it. I wasn't thinking that this is the lead. I'm just like, I'm open, so shoot it.
Is that kind of the confidence you guys play with all the time? I mean, it wasn't a great shooting night, but end of the stretch, you get that big three. Is that something you're not thinking about at all, what you're shooting, and just continue to chuck them up? Or is that something you kind of think about in the back of your head, the shooting percentage of the night?
Yeah, I think my coaches and team do a good job motivating me specifically. And really everybody else, if I'm missing or if I just miss three in a row, sometimes I do tend to get in my head. But when you hear just keep shooting, and no one cares, then you feel more loose, and I'm not uptight in the fourth quarter because of how I've shot throughout the game. I'm just more so okay, on to the next.
Mimi, how did it feel to close this one out as well as you guys did after TCU last week?
It felt great. I haven't heard Country Roads in a minute, so it was good to hear that song. It was good to be with my teammates and, just get a gritty dub. I think we got a few of them, but, as long as we get the win, I'm satisfied.
Mimi, how do you guys develop a little more consistency so you can avoid some of those scoring droughts?
Playing for four quarters. I think we struggle to play for four quarters, and just making an adjustment. I think we made a good adjustment, but I would rather us play 10 minutes at a time and just give our all the whole game so it doesn't get that close.
Thanks, Mimi. Thanks, Sid.
Thanks.
Questions for Coach?
Coach, in a player like Washington Sue, when she plays other teams, she can cause havoc. When she's played you in the last 3 years, going back to Pitt, you've held her to under pretty much 5 points in every single game. Is it the players or is it the game plan? What is it that you think you can find success in taking the ball away from a player like her?
Well, I don't honestly not really sure. You just put a game plan together for every player. We're obviously familiar with her. We've played her a couple times coming in, obviously being from Fairmont and the whole story. So really nothing more than that, to be honest. She hit that three early, and then did she score again? Yeah, didn't score again after that first three. So, yeah, I thought we did a pretty good job. She's a phenomenal defender. She plays hard. I think Coach Miller, I've heard her say, kind of played like that, and so I'm sure that's why she likes Marley as much as she does. So, this wasn't a personal. This had nothing to do with Marley, or we weren't trying to set out to do anything to a kid that's from here. barely even talked about that. I think we brought it up in the initial scout, and other than that, it was just here's a player, here's what she does, and here's what we want to try to take away.
Coach, you had a 13-2 run at the end of the game in the last 4 minutes. How good did that feel after all the defensive effort all night finally paid off at the end?
Yeah, no, certainly better. I thought we were much better on that end. I thought we did a better job on Brackens and Elliott late and in the fourth quarter. I think they battled a little bit of foul trouble late third, maybe early fourth. And then we just forced other players to try to have to beat us, and so that's what we wanted to do. We switched up some of our defensive stuff. So just trying to keep playing until we find a little bit of a rhythm on the offensive end. But probably most important was just what we did offensively. I think we're really good offensively when we share the basketball. Obviously, if we can make some more perimeter shots, then I think we'll be really good. But when we get stagnant and we don't share it, then we're just not nearly as good as we need to be on the offensive end. But we've taken some steps defensively the last couple home games to hold TCU to 51, I think, and then that team to 43. That's pretty legit. That should give you a chance to win even on a night offensively where you're not particularly good.
Mark, how big was the end of the third where you scored a few baskets and kind of carried that momentum into the fourth there?
Yeah, well, I think it switched because at halftime they had the momentum, right? They went on the run. They ran into the locker room feeling great about it, even though we had the 1 point lead, and then they took it in the third quarter for most of it. And then even though we were down, it felt like we at least made a little run there to close it, to give us some momentum. So yeah, no, that was probably a big moment. I liked our response in that third quarter timeout. It's something we've been talking about, and maybe not response, but just body language and demeanor, and just making sure that we enjoy that. Like, don't try to just survive it and get through it, and don't tighten up. Just relax and be better in those situations. And I thought we were.
Does that just come from experience, or wouldn't you say like you want them to be looser and enjoy the moment? Do you have to go through it a few times and maybe even endure some failures to get to that
Well,
point?
ideally, you don't want to have to go through failures to do that, but we have, and so you don't have a choice when it's happened to you. And I think each kid is a little bit different, and how they internalize those moments. And you're at home and the crowd gets loud, and it should be fun, and we should be flying around defensively and trusting each other. And that stuff that we have talked about is that we don't always do that. They really like each other. It's not like that type of trust, just the way if we get in rotation that I'm going to help you and we're going to scramble out of that. And so I thought we did a much better job. Fourth quarter defensively, that was a solid quarter for us. And that's the one that in this league, you're probably going to come down to a lot of fourth quarters. Somebody's up 8, 9, 2-point game, whatever. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter, like one way or the other. And so we need to be great. We need to function. And I was probably the most proud of the no turnovers.
Have you ever had a game before where your opponent did not have a free throw?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know. I couldn't tell you, to be honest. The answer, probably not, but yeah, maybe it could have happened at some point in there, But they're a little bit more of a mid-range jump shooting team. They didn't really throw it into the post a whole lot after the first quarter. So it wasn't like there weren't too many, like I didn't think, shooting fouls at the rim, those types of things. We shot a lot of free throws late because for a while I think we had shot 6 maybe or something, 8, and they hadn't taken any. It really wasn't crazy lopsided until they had to foul late.
Is it an adjustment trying to defend a team that does take so many mid-range jumpers compared to what you normally see?
Yeah, and we see some of those. Like Cincinnati does the same thing, and it just some kids are skilled at that. Some, it's still analytic. The analytics hate it, and so it just depends. Like Brackens got going there for a while and was wearing us out. Elliott hit a bunch of them, early too. And so, yeah, at some point you're like, you're kind of trying to live with it, but then you're like, maybe we have to adjust, which we did, and change some coverages to try to prevent that. So it's one of those that, is it hard? No, not necessarily. It's just kind of trying to pick and choose what you want to. If we give up something, it may be this on this night. The next night it may be something completely different based on who we play.
Mark, there's I genuinely don't know. What does it mean when the refs issue a flop warning?
Yeah, I mean, it became a thing last year, like where you would get technicals if you were, trying to embellish the call might be the best way to describe that. So you're trying to take a charge and you do it way before the contact, and so you're trying to embellish, so you get a flop warning. If you do get a second one, you would get a technical foul and shoot them. Like I think those are the first 2 I've seen the entire season. They haven't even given us a warning all year. I think that went away. We went through it for 1 year, and it's still a call, but no one makes the call.
Do you have to address that at all when it happens? I mean, you just, you never see it. So.
Yeah, I didn't. I think our players probably know. I guess I need to check back in. But just because last year everybody talked about it because it was a little bit more of a point of emphasis, I think, early in the year to take the flopping out of the game. And then it kind of went away a little bit this year.
You kind of talked about how important was getting that win against a team that was previously ranked and then start a Big 12 play, lost to. How important was that win after being the last time here you lose to a very good TCU team on a tough shot?
Yeah, well, no, it feels good. I mean, they were 17-2. I mean, would they start 15-0 or no? 15-0. Yeah, they started 15-0. Doing a great job. Their culture's really good. You can tell they play hard for each other. They're well coached. So yeah, it was another one that they've just been coming at us, in a row, and it's just been when you go from Tech and then you go to Iowa State and then TCU and obviously on the road at Cincinnati, kind of your rival, and then back home against a team that's 17-2. Like, we've had a gauntlet, and it won't get any easier moving forward, but that's what this league, that's what it is right now, and you just play the next one. And so any way you can find to win it, to go 1-0 on the day is a win, and we went 1-0 today, and that's a win for us.
Thanks,